recording. Yeah. All right. Thank you for the reminder. God bless you. All right. So I want to type the muscle, skeletal muscles. You should, from your basic biology, you should have idea of skeletal muscles, except maybe you've forgotten. We have 3 types of muscles: cardiac, smooth. You can write it down, please. If you have your notes, you will really enjoy this class. So you'll be dealing majorly with skeletal muscles. So yeah, because I want to say something before we go into it properly. Because this Zoom is basic Zoom, it's possible that after 40 minutes, our call is disconnected. Don't be scared. I will start the meeting again. Then you can use the same link to join in case the meeting stops suddenly. I will let you know if it's going to stop, but let's continue like this. So I believe I've done a little bit of proper introduction to I've given a little bit of background to the types of muscles we have. The muscle we are going to be talking about, skeletal muscles, they are the ones that allow movement and all the rest. So I believe I've done a little bit of justification to that. All right, so let's continue. You can see, well, I was talking about skeletal muscles the other time. These are skeletal muscles. We have over 640 muscles in the body. Over 640 muscles in the body. So, and the truth is, it is difficult to remember them all. That's the truth. Even I myself, I can only talk about, I remember a few number because, based on experience and the rest. But if you ask me to talk about the whole 640, you want to punish me. But the good thing about this thing is the fact that who knows Sheldon Cooper? Who has seen Big Bang Theory? He has a eidetic memory, so I trust Sky to make a little joke about it that except your Sheldon Cooper is actually is hard to remember how they are named, how all the muscles in the body are named. But understanding how they are named can help us remember them. It should not only help us remember them, but it will help you know where they are located, what they do, and their function when you understand how muscles are named. Like, we are kind of doing etymology of muscles in a way. So the reason why remembering the name of muscles are a bit difficult is the fact that most muscles of the human body, they are named in Latin or Greek. They are named in Latin or Greek. So if you look at the bottom half of my slide here, I tried of made a little bit of joke between Latin and Greek, like F5 bro, like it's usually a combination of Latin and Greek. That's the reason why it's usually a bit difficult for you to remember their names, and a lot of people, tend to cram, even though I was a victim, especially my first year, your first semester, tend to cram because the only thing we know is English, apart from our native language. Nobody will teach you Latin or Greek, except maybe, you've read outside, you read a lot and then you're familiar with Latin and Greek. But that's not our discussion for today. Is how the best, and what is making our discussion today worthy is the fact that the people that named these muscles too, they didn't name them haphazardly. They did not just name them that, oh, this. It was systemic in a way. I don't know if you can remember when you were doing, everybody here is a science student, I believe, and you have a science background. You did chemistry, yeah. When you were doing your chemistry, there's something they call naming of organic compounds. For someone, when they first show you, when you see the names of organic compounds, when they've not taught you how organic compounds are named, you'll be scared. Like, that's the first thing that happens. I know a lot of people are actually scared of, organic compounds and the rest. But when you understand how to name them, it becomes easy. Like, it's like drinking water. Is like, just enjoying yourself, having fun while you're doing it. So the way the naming of organic compound is systemic, that is the way muscles, the way muscles are named, that's the way it is systemic too. So if you're writing, I would appreciate you can just write it down. Like, muscles are named majorly based on the shape of the muscles. When they see them, this anatomy is a science of discovery. Some set of people, Andresius Vesalius, we have Gallius and the rest. We have a lot of Aristotle, all those old names. When they started dissection, Andreas Vesalius was the first one to actually have a real human dissection. When they dissect the human body and they see the way different muscles are arranged, they've looked at it that, okay, what can we relate this muscle to? Like, what does this muscle remind us of? So they sometimes when they see the muscle, they name the muscle based on shape. Okay, this thing is looking like triangle. What is triangle? Then they use a Latin word for Greek, a Latin word or Greek word, depending on the scientists that discovered it. Use the word to name it. Then muscles are also named on shape based on their size. Is the muscle big? Is it small? Then also the number of the heads they have or bellies, their location, their depths, their attachments, and their actions. But don't worry, we will go into each of these things in total. Please, if you're enjoying the conversation, let me know in the chat box. But if you are not, let me know too, so I can know if I need to go back or move forward. I want the session to be as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them. I'm checking the chat box now. Okay, yeah. Someone said they're enjoying the session. Thank you. Okay. So if you want there will be a recording for this session, but for you to get the recording, please kindly, I'm sending the link to a form. You can just fill the form as you're going through the session with me, then you would get the recording, because we don't have your emails or anything so that we can send the recording. So once you fill the form, only the people that were majorly part of the session will get the recording. So yeah, let's move on. Let's go into each one by one based on shape. We'll start with based on shape. Yes. Examples of muscles that are named based on shape include, the deltoid muscles. The deltoid muscle. People that have done upper limbs, they would relate to this easily, because I know you're familiar with deltoid muscle. But people that have not done upper limbs before, all right, thank you, Tafika. Deltoid muscle is named based on shape. I'm sure you might have probably even heard this somewhere before. The deltoid muscles come from a Greek word named delta. Like, if you see the deltoid muscles, you can see where my mouse is pointing out here. It looks like the shape of a triangle. My internet connection is unstable. What's wrong? Sorry. If you look at it, I think it's back. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. All right, let me continue. It's triangle in shape, as you can see. So when, let's say, let me name the person Andresius Basalius, or let me name the person Tanimo. Yes, let me use Tanimo. I think you'll be able to relate to that. Oh, sorry. There are people that are not Yoruba yet. Let me use Marvellous. Yes, let me use Marvellous. At least you can relate to Marvellous. Let's say Marvellous was a scientist that was the first one to notice the deltoid muscle. So when I saw it, I was like, okay, this thing looks triangle in shape. Okay. So because the person that discovered it spoke Latin, he used the Latin word delta. He said it's looking like delta. Delta is the triangle, is the Latin word for triangle. So it's like triangular in shape. That's where the name deltoid came from. That's why it's called the deltoid muscle. So whenever I see the deltoid muscle, think of, or you see or hear it, you think of triangle in shape. Let's move on. Another example of muscle that is also named based on shape is the trapezius muscle. You can find the trapezius muscle at your back. Yeah. The muscles that extend from your occipitals, from your occipital. It has turbo insertion. So this is the trapezius. You can see the shape of the trapezius. To know that these things, they are not just named, this is the shape, this is a trapezium shape. They are not just named anyhow. They actually kind of saw it and looked at, okay, what can we relate this thing to? That what does it look like to us? And then they named them. See the trapezium shape. You can see the shape. That's 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You get that? So if you're enjoying the session, let me know. If you're not, let me know so we could go back and let's walk through it together. Another muscle that is named based on shape is the rhomboid muscles. The rhomboid muscles. They are, we have the rhomboid major and rhomboid minor. As you can see, the rhombus is parallelogram. The rhombus is the Greek word for parallelogram. If you can do a Google search now, you can just check. Is the Greek word for parallelogram. So because the shape looks like it's parallelogram in shape, you can see. If you can check online, parallelogram shape, and then like, okay, this is parallelogram. Because the person spoke Greek, was like, okay, let's name this rhomboid. And that was where it got the name. Let me give one quick disclaimer and something that is very important. Muscles in body, they're usually named as a combination of words, usually. It's not usually just one word that, okay, at times it's just one word, like this deltoid muscle, the trapezius muscle, the rhomboid muscle. But there are some muscles in the body that they're usually like a combination of names. Like example now, we have the rhomboid minor and the rhomboid major. You see, it means minor means small, major means big. That means the small parallelogram muscle. Do you get rhomboid minor? If you want to translate it to English, literally, it just means small parallelogram muscle. Rhomboid major, big parallelogram muscle. Do you get that? I hope you get that. If you get it, please let me know. I would really. I'm more usually comfortable, teaching like talking to people physically. So I used to get feedback, but it's virtual. If you can give me feedback, I would appreciate to know that I'm not saying trash or boring you. And I hope you can follow me because if I'm not too fast, because I can be a bit fast when I'm talking. All right. I should come again. Okay, wow. So we can continue our session, no 40 minutes limit. That's nice. Shitimi, let me unmute you and then I would like to hear which part that you got probably lost at so that I will know where to. Kindly unmute yourself, Shitimi. Are you there, Shitimi?
Yes, sir.
Okay, which part was kind of confusing?
The last slide.
Okay, this based on shape, right?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, we just left it, no problem. Which part exactly? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, the last, like, I got the triangle, the trapezium part, but the one after the trapezium, the naming after, yes.
Okay, the rhomboid muscle.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about it. What I said was that the rhomboid muscle, rhomboid is the Greek word for parallelogram. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the muscle, if you look at it, is parallelogram in shape. This is a parallelogram shape. It's kind of parallelogram in shape, like this. You can see it. So when the person saw it, the shape to me then saw it, I was like, this muscle is looking like parallelogram. And because the person spoke Greek, the person cannot say parallelogram because they don't understand English. So like, rhomboid, this is rhomboid. This is a rhomboid shape. So rhomboid, let's call it rhomboid. And then the reason what may be causing a little bit of confusion for you is the fact that there are two rhomboid muscles closely attached. We have the rhomboid major, this big one, and the rhomboid minor. Minor means small. As you can see, the one that is called rhomboid minor is small. It means the small parallelogram muscle. If you want to translate this rhomboid minor to pure English, that's it in pure English, in plain English. Small parallelogram muscle. For the rhomboid major, it's big parallelogram muscle. Do you get?
Yes, sir.
So we can move on, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, play, no worry. So we've dealt with shape, but probably chances are very high that those are not the only muscles named based on shape, but at least you have a little grasp or understanding of when we say muscles are named based on shape. And if you come across any muscle like the belted muscle, you don't need to cram it. Just know that, okay, that's a triangular muscle. Come on. When you come across the trapezius, it's like the trapezium shape. If you come across rhomboid, the rhomboid muscles is parallelogram shape. That's what they mean. So now the next thing is based on size. Apart from shape, muscles are also named based on size. Example of such is the vastus muscles. And vastus comes from the Latin word vasto. It comes from the Latin word vasto, which means large or vast. That is in literal translation, if you're translating it literally. Vasto means vast, like when something is large. And the reason why they call them the vastus muscles is because look at where my mouse is pointing out. I'm trying to locate my mouse. Okay, yeah. Look at it. You can see the way the muscle is big. Actually, these muscles you are seeing, anybody that has done lower limb can relate to this easily. But if you've not done, you're just going to 200 level, just try to have like a broad overview. Even if you don't understand fully, you can reach out to me privately, and then if you are shy, yeah, no problem. You can reach out to me privately, and then we'll engage in more discussions and help you to get them. But you would appreciate it better when you get to school. You'll be glad you attended this session, honestly. When you get to school and you start learning all these things, that's the truth. For anybody that has done lower limb, they can relate to it. It is actually like three muscles make up the vastus muscles. They are large muscles of the thigh. Your thigh, they are the three muscles they are like 4 muscles make the anterior compartment of your thigh. I don't want to go into big details, but the vastus muscles are three of those muscles. The 4 muscles together are called, deeper into the lesson, you will reach those muscles. They are called the quadratus femoris. And then the vastus muscles, they make 3 out of the 4. So imagine how it is. It is large. So that was when the person said, I was like, damn, sorry, pardon my language. Wow, these muscles are large. And it was like vastus. That was like the person was speaking Latin. When the person was like, wow, vasto, like vast muscles. So let me give a little bit of funny gist or detail. When the person said like vastus muscle, like vasto, it was like vasto, like large, vastus muscles, yes. They are also called, since it's 3 muscles that make up this vastus muscles, each of them, they have their own name. The one that is in the middle here is called vastus intermedialis because it's in the middle, intermediary. The one that is close to the midline, if you attended Gloria's session on basic knowledge in anatomy, you would be able to appreciate, especially if you've not studied anatomy at all, you'll be able to appreciate when we say medial, like it close to the midline. Yes. I don't know if you can see me. I think you should be able to see me. Let me see if you can see me. Sorry, I'm trying to see if you can see me. All right. Can you see me? My video is on. I believe you should be able to see me. All right. Yeah. There's an imaginary midline in anatomy. I hope I'm not trying in my bid to explain. I hope I'm not complicating things, please. If I am, let me know so I would know when to dive down. In anatomy, there is usually an imaginary line passing through the body, like that divides the body to 2 equal halves. That divide the body into 2 equal halves. So anything that is close to that midline is medial. Anything that is away from that midline is lateral. So I was talking about, no, okay, you can see me a bit in a way. You can't see my thigh, I'm sorry. I wish you could see my thigh. You can just use your own thigh like to kind of judge. The one close to the midline, this side, the medial side, the muscle there, the vastus muscle there is the one called vastus medialis, this one. The one away from, there's a midline coming like this. The one away from the midline, this one, is called vastus lateralis. But that is a bit of a gist for later as we go on in the class, in the session, as we enjoy the session. So I'm glad you guys are following, even though, yeah. So based on size, we still have other kind of muscles that are named based on size. We have major and minor muscles. Example of these muscles are the pectoralis major and minor. These are the pectoralis major. This is the pectoralis. Okay, let me ask a little bit of question. Anybody that can answer, please, I will appreciate. Kindly unmute yourself. I think can you unmute yourself? Can you unmute yourself? Let me know. If I said, okay, you can unmute yourself. Major in Latin means, major is a Latin word. It's gotten from a Latin word that means large, big. Minor is gotten from a Latin word that means small. Now, look at these two muscles, this skeleton. This arrow, the arrow I'm pointing, the muscle I'm pointing at arrow at, what is it? What do you think it's going to be? Is it pectoralis
major?
Pectoralis major, thank you, because it's big. Sorry, my mouse is confused me sometimes. I'm using a white background, maybe that's why. Pectoralis major, and this is the pectoralis minor. Now, let me give, yes.
Minor.
Okay. If you know you are talking in the background, you should not unmute yourself now, please. I'm begging you. All right, let's continue. So, this is the pectoralis minor, and this is the pectoralis major. Do you get? Pectoralis literally means breastplate. Like, you can see your chest. You can see your chest. This is your chest. This is the breastplate. This is where our breasts, male and female, we all have breast, is located. So the pectoralis major is the main muscle. That's where our breasts, male or female, that's where it lies on. So it has a big one, pectoralis major. The small one that is beneath the major, which is called pectoralis minor. Literally, so if you want to translate pectoralis major to plain English, like plain English, what it just means is that the big muscle of the chest or the big muscle of our breasts. Pectoralis minor, the small muscle of our chest or of our breasts, depending on whichever language you want to use. So I think now this kind of reinforced what I said during the last time when we're talking about the rhomboid muscles. You can see that I said muscles are usually named as a combination, are usually like a combination of word. You can see rhomboid minor, rhomboid minor, rhomboid major. So I hope you get and understand that. If I am confusing, please, you can unmute yourself or let me know in the chat box. I would go over again, or if you want us to talk privately, we'll talk. No issue. So, and if you haven't filled the form, please make sure you fill the form. That I'll send it again to the chat box so that you can have access to the recording and maybe the slides if I feel like giving it out. All right, let's continue. So other muscles are named based on size. We have the maximus, medius, and minimus or minimi, depending on what language. Minimus is the plural, minimi is the minimus is the singular, sorry, minimi is the plural. And from this word maximus, you can guess already that it makes maximum, big. Medius, middle, like in the middle, not too big, not too small. You can manage it. Then minimus or minimi, from our popular, one of our favorite noodles. It will not be your favorite. This minimi noodles, you know how small it is now. So it's small. The muscles that comes to mind when you're talking about the maximus, medius, and minimus is the gluteal muscles. When you're doing lower limbs, you'll be able to appreciate them. Thank you. All right, someone asked a question. Okay, I have a quick question. From the image of the rhomboid muscle, it seems like the rhomboid minor and major are located at the area of the trapezius muscle. Yes, it's possible. Muscles usually lie, let me go back to the slide so that it would be more realistic. Sorry, my arrow is to misplace. Yeah, it seems like, yes. If you can see the first picture I show you, this picture, yeah. Muscles, they usually lie over one another. They are not isolated. It is still part of the things we'll go to as we progress in the session. Muscles usually, they lie over one another. In this place alone, the anterior compartment of the arm, you have 3 muscles. Triceps, you can see here. I don't want to confuse that as well. You can see 3 muscles in this place alone. In this your anterior arm, that your small arm that you're looking at. 3 muscles are there. 3 strong muscles. Then your abdomen too, that you think is full of fat and water. There are like 4 muscles around here too. So this is the pectoralis major that we're talking about, where your breast lie on. So this is the deltoid muscles. Muscles are not in isolation, they are all compacted together, but fascias usually separate them. When you get, you may not really have a good grasp or understanding of it, but when you get to school and your lecturer is teaching you deeply, you would appreciate this session really well, and you to now be more revealing. Like you would have an upper hand compared to people that are just really having. If you have someone talking in your background, the proper thing is to mute yourself, please. I want the class to be interactive. That is why I really like if you can. That's why I made it possible for people to be able to unmute themselves. So let's move on. I hope I'm able to answer your question in a little bit as much as I could. But if I did not, rather, reach out to me privately, then we talk more. So the gluteus maximus, medius, minimus, and then we have some other muscles that are kind of small, like your flexor. I don't want to use those big names. People that have done upper limbs and lower limbs can relate more to what I would say, but just get the basic concept that maximus means big, medius means not big, not small, medium, minimus or minimi means small, and then longus and brevis. Longus means long. So any muscle that you see longus attached to the name, like the longus capitis, is the muscle that extends from the head to the clavicle. Longus capitis is a long muscle. It's a long muscle. That's why we call it. That's why they call it longus capitis. Brevis means short. Your abductor pollicis brevis, rather. Yoruba accent used to betray someone sometimes, and I don't like it, honestly. But let's move. All right. Abductor pollicis brevis is the muscle that abducts your big thumb. But as people that have done upper and lower limbs, they will be able to appreciate it. But as you are going to school to do upper and lower limbs, you would appreciate this session deeply. So based on size, you have a little bit of grasp or understanding about that. Let's move on. Yes, based on fiber orientation. Yeah, based on fiber. Oh, yeah. Based on fiber orientation. Yeah, let's enjoy the session. Your factor can embarrass. Isn't rhomboid muscle anterior and trapezius posterior? Are they laying over one another? Yes. A rhomboid muscle is a posterior muscle. It's located at your back. It's located at your back. So, based on fiber orientation, we have the muscles that are the popular ones based on fiber orientation are the muscles of the abdomen. We have the transversus abdominis. That is the transverse muscle of the abdomen. Transversus means, please, our question set in anatomy, I just said 211, I'll just say upper limbs, and it seems complex. Please, would like to have an idea of the kind of questions being said. This session is not for that, but Becky, Ola, you can reach out to me privately. We'll talk. Like, let me just type my number in the chat box in case you don't have it. Sorry. This session is not really meant for that. This session would make you understand how muscles are named. That's the purpose of this session. I don't want to distract. I don't want to put what is not meant to be in this session. But after this session, if there's still more time and you guys are interested, we could have a conversation about that. and down. So, but let me recommend a very good book for you to have a little idea. Question answer in anatomy will give you a little, it's like your guide to anatomy. If you have question answer in anatomy, you're one step ahead, and you read it, please. It's not enough to have books, you need to read your books too. You are one step ahead of others. If you read, go buy book service here. Yeah. Muscle fibers that run transversely. When you say transversus abdominis, just literally translate to muscle fibers that run transversely. You can see this picture. This is transversus abdominis muscle. When I say transverse, it means horizontally to the midline. Like, you know, I told you there's a midline like this that divides the body. You can see it from this slide. You can see that divide the body into two equal halves. So this transversus abdominis, the fibers of this muscle, fibers are what makes up muscles. Like a lot of fibers together make up muscles. They run transversely. Let me see if you can see me. I'm trying to, you know, demonstrate it a little bit. They run like this. They go like this. Yeah, that's the way they go. Yeah. So that's about transversus abdominis, like muscles that run transversely. I'm trying to move as fast as possible. I don't want to waste too much time. So going to the oblique muscle, that's the external abdominal oblique muscle. We have the external abdominal oblique muscle and the internal abdominal oblique muscle. But what's the major keyword here is oblique. You understand external, it means outside. You understand it's internal, it means inside. So Marvellous gone away. All right, so that oblique means it runs diagonally to the midline. You can see this kind of line. That's the way the fibers run. You can see this arrow here. They run like this. Like this. Like, I hope you can see that. Yeah, so that's about them. Then I'll try to use this picture too to kind of give a little bit of explanation about it. Then we have rectus. Rectus rather is the Latin word for straight. Is the Latin word for straight. As you can see, rectus abdominis is when you are doing abdomen that you would appreciate this thing very well. Then having this background will give you a little bit of understanding. The rectus muscles, they run straight. They are the muscles. When you hear six packs, these are the muscles that make up the six packs that you hear people talking about, six packs. So this person, everybody has this rectus abdominis. When you gym and you know you work out very well, I can't show my shirt right now. I have 10 packs. I have up to 6. No, not up to 6. I think I have 4 packs. Yeah, I have 4 packs. So like I have all the muscles complete, but when you work out very well, the old muscles they become obvious. That's why you can say, okay, when they are obvious, that's okay, this person has 6 packs. But anybody that has like 4 ones that are obvious, like when you say when someone has 4 packs, that means it's only 2 of the muscles that are obvious, because that's probably where the person has now gym really hard, and then everything is now obvious. But rectus muscles, they come in straight. That's why they are called rectus. Yeah, I said I was going to use this picture too to explain the muscles of the eye. You can see rectus. These are the rectus muscle. You can see they are straight. They are straight in nature. Their fibers are straight. But the ones that are labeled oblique, they are coming like this, like diagonal. They run diagonally to the midline. See them? Instead of straight like this, they are coming like this. So I hope you get that. If you have any question, let me know in the chat box, or if I'm moving slow, let me know in the chat box too, please. So I like to stay in touch. Yeah, this is a good diagram to make it more relatable. I said the rectus. Okay, I have a chat here. Okay, someone said the inferior rectus muscle is not straight. Let's go back to the diagram. All right. Okay. Don't confuse yourself. This is based on fiber orientation, not the shape of the muscles. Like if you look at, you can't see it clearly because this is not, you can't see this clearly, but the fibers, they are straight. The fibers that make up the muscles are straight. It's not the way the muscle is shaped that they are using it, the way the fibers that make it up. when you do your dissection and you go to the eyes, or maybe if you can take time to do a Google search and try to see the fibers of the rectors of the superior oblique muscle and inferior rectors, the rectus muscles, you realize that if you look at them microscopically, their fibers are straight. Even not, you don't have to look at them microscopically. When you have the muscle, like the real muscles of a cadaver, and you look at the fiber closely, it may not really be obvious. But if you look closely, you realize that the fibers are straight. It's not the shape of the muscle, but the fibers that make up the muscles. I hope you understand. I hope that kind of gives a little bit of clarification. Maybe because of the way I was using my arrow to do my mouse to do squeeze, make it a little bit confusing. It's the fibers that make up the muscles that you see, fiber orientation, not the shape of the muscle, like the way their fibers run, the fibers that make up the muscles. So I hope that kind of make it clearer. Yeah, you understand now. It's clear now. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I love your feedback. That's what makes me know I'm still on track. Yeah. So if you understand, I don't think I need to explain this diagram again, but if you want me to, I can come back to it. So we've talked about based on shape, size, and fiber orientation. The other kind of way that the anatomists then, our scientists, to say that, well, like the kind of strategy they used to name this muscle. Another one is the number of heads and bellies, like the number of heads and bellies. Muscles have, their body is what they call the belly. I should check my time, I'm still on track. For example, we have the biceps brachii. This is like the most popular muscle, at least. Even people that have not done upper limbs, chances are high that at least you've heard of biceps brachii once or twice before in your life. Biceps brachii, if I translating it to literal English, let me break the words down. Biceps means two head. That's it. Bi means two. Ceps is the Latin word for head. So they kind of combine it like biceps, two heads. As you can see in this diagram, this is the biceps brachii, this muscle. So it has a long head, and it has a long head and a short head. So that's why when the Oluwa Shete that saw it then was like, oh wow, this muscle has two heads and it's located in the arm. The Latin word for arm is brachia. So the person was like, the muscle of the arm with two heads. That's the literal translation to it. So another one is triceps brachii. It's the muscle of the posterior compartment of the arm. You can see me here. You can see me here. Posterior compartment of the arm. This diagram makes it clearer. If you look at it, it has three heads. It has the medial head, the lateral head, and the long head. Like three heads. Like the muscle has three heads. That's why it's called triceps brachii. I believe that should explain it. Then another example of based on number of heads and bellies is the quadratus femoris. Sorry, the quadratus femoris. Rather, the quadratus femoris. I would like someone to like, if you hear, when I say quadratus femoris, what do you think? If you want to translate it to like literal translation of English, like if you want to convert the two words to English, what do you think it means? Or anybody that can help with that so we can move fast. You can unmute yourself or type in the chat box. Yeah, Tafika, you're smart.
Sorry.
You're very smart. I love you guys. You guys are wonderful, honestly. I don't know why we are holding this session. Maybe we should stop. Let's stop the session. You guys are awesome already. Should we stop? No, okay, we'll continue. All right. So it means four heads. And you can see this is the quadratus femoris. I was talking about when we're talking about vastus muscles the other time based on size. And I told you, remember I told you before that muscles are usually named as a combination of names. You can see now, based on the vastus muscles were named based on shape, based on their size, and based on their location/position. But together, I mentioned the quadriceps femoris. These are the 4 muscles that make up the quadriceps femoris. This is the rectus femoris. You can see, I said rectus, the fibers are straight. The fibers are straight. So, I must misplace. You see, rectus femoris literally translates to the straight muscle of the thigh, because femoris came from the word femur. The femur bone is the only and the main bone of the thigh. So you see, all these things are actually intuitive. They are straight, but if you don't know how they come to be, it will be a bit confusing. I won't lie to you, it was confusing to me. So when you get to school, it's a bit confusing. Don't lose hope. Just read, and you get it, or reach out to someone that can explain to you. So 4 heads, that's it. Muscle of the thigh with 4 heads. That's all. Then, based on bellies, we have the digastric muscle. It just means gastric is the Latin word for gastric is the work is like stomach. That's the Latin word for stomach, yeah, in a way. It has 2 bellies. So when they saw it, like, this is the digastric muscle. This is the anterior belly, the middle part of the muscle, the anterior belly, and this is the posterior belly. So the scientists that said it was like, oh, this thing get to stomach. The gastric to stomach, and we are cool. So that's like, I'm just trying to simplify it, and I hope you can relate and you're enjoying it, so that when you see the names of muscles, instead of just trying to cram it, you would be able to relate to them on a personal level. Like when you start with your upper limbs, and the first thing they will teach you is especially they will start with the bones and everything. You need to, like, if you're studying anatomy, the best place to start is from bones. Understand the bone. When you understand the bone, then you can understand other things as regards the region of the body you're studying. But you start with upper limbs, they will teach you about the scapula, the clavicle, then the humerus, and then the anterior compartment of the arm. You have your biceps breaker, that's just muscles with 2 heads. You have your let me go into all that. Let's continue. You would enjoy it as we move on. All right. So we've talked on shape, based on shape. I hope you are writing down, because that's when you'll be able to relate when you write it down. Shape, size, fiber orientation, then based on their whether they have the number of the heads they have or the bellies they have. Then now, based on attachments, based on attachments, muscles, they have muscles. For people that don't have any previous history with anatomy, that's why I'm trying to make it as granular as possible. Apologies to people that have done upper and lower limbs, because it may seem like, why is this guy wasting our time? But it's a good way to, like, kind of refresh your memory. I'm doing this, like, breaking it down to the granular level, because of people that have not done anatomy at all in their in their existence. Muscles, skeletal muscles, they have origin and insertion. I want to say origin. It's not the origin drink. Yes, it's not the origin drink. No, it's where they start from. Origin means where you start from, and the insertion is where they stop, where they insert. So that's just like the basic concept about it. Origin, where they start from. So muscles are named based on where they originate from and insert. Let's use examples. Examples will make it more relatable. Now, there's a muscle called the stylohyoid muscle. Yes, there's this little tip that would be useful for you if you are doing anatomy, or you've done anatomy, or you've not started or you're doing. When you see O, like in Latin, they use letter O to, like, kind of combine 2 different words. Like now you can see stylohyoid. Stylohyoid. That means style is from one word. Hyoid is from another word. You can see this sternocleidomastoid. The letter O is is from one word, cleid is from another word, mastoid is another word. So they use, like, letter O is like when you are using and. You can see this too, coracobrachialis. So when you see O in between words, your brain should just tell you that, okay, it's two things that are coming together to make this word. To make this word rather. You see this brachioradialis too. So when you see O in a word, your brain just said that, okay, I only run like which two words are coming together. Sorry, I'm trying to make it as relatable as possible. And I can forget myself at times. So I hope you're enjoying this session. We are talking about some muscles, the fact that some muscles are named based on where they originate from and insert. So, sorry. All right. I still see myself. A little break. Yeah. I hope I'm not too fast. That's why I'm taking this break, so that if I'm too fast, at least I'll relax. All right, let's move on. The stylohyoid muscle. Anybody that is doing or have done head and neck is the one that will appreciate this, but I'll still break it down. Okay, you're not fast to understand it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Anybody that have done head and neck is the one that would appreciate this better. But if you've not, don't be afraid. You will still do it. So having a basic understanding of it now won't harm you. So it just literally means, I told you that letter O is used to join two words in anatomy. It's like, because anatomy comes from Latin and Greek, that's why. It literally means from, you see, this is your sternum, this is stylohyoid muscle, this thing I'm clicking, I'm hovering my mouse over, is the stylohyoid muscle. There are pairs of muscles in our neck, yeah. So it's originating from the sternum, this bone, you can feel your sternum here. If you touch here, yeah, you can feel your sternum. You can just touch here literally now. That's the manubrium of your sternum. So the muscle is originating from the manubrium of your sternum and is inserting at the hyoid bone. There's a bone in your neck. You can feel it if you touch your neck. There's a bone there. Don't choke yourself. Don't say it's okay. Let's go back to class. From the sternum to the hyoid bone. That's why it's called stylohyoid, like stylohyoid. From the sternum, yeah. From the sternum to the no. Sorry, this is the sternocleidoid muscle, not the stylohyoid muscle. Sorry, this muscle here, this picture here. Sorry, I made a little mistake. Thank God I realized so that I won't confuse you people. Thank you. Thank God. This is the sternocleidoid muscle. This muscle is the sternocleidoid muscle. I can explain the stylohyoid muscle too, how it came to be, but ignore the stylohyoid you are seeing on. This is the sternocleidoid muscle. There's a muscle called stylohyoid muscle too. I will explain it after the sternum, but this is the sternocleidoid muscle. You see, understanding how they are named allowed me to realize that I made a mistake in the preparation of my slides, because I know that sternocleidoid is not the same as stylohyoid. Like, one is stylo at sternum, one is like, how do they relate? Sorry. They don't. So this is sternocleidoid muscle from the sternum to the hyoid bone. Now to the stylohyoid, which is going to be around, if you look closely, this picture, I don't know if it's clear to you, if you can see it very well. It's coming from the styloid bone. The styloid process of the, I don't want to confuse you guys. Oh God. Anybody that has done head and neck can appreciate this, yeah? It's coming from, there's a styloid process in from our temporal bone in the head, the part of the bones that make up the head. It's come from the styloid process to the hyoid bone. It's coming from somewhere around there to insert here. So that's the stylohyoid muscle. That's the stylohyoid muscle. The sternocleidoid is come from the sternum to the hyoid bone. That's why they call it. Now, let's move forward. Sternocleidomastoid. As you can see, you have three words coming together to form a sternum from sternum. Stern is from sternum. Sternocleidomastoid. So it's coming from the sternum. This muscle has two origins and one insertion. The origin is originating from the sternum here, and also from the clavicle. That's why it's clavicle, from the clavicle, sternocleido, then went up to go and insert at the mastoid process of the temporal bone. So that's why it's called sternocleidomastoid. I hope you get that. Yeah, I believe you should get it. If you don't, let me know. I can try another way to explain. Moving on, we have other examples. We have brachioradialis, coracobrachialis, but let me also explain coracobrachialis. Let me explain, because when you do your upper limbs, it's part of the muscles of the arterial compartment of the arm. It's part of what you will come across. So let me just explain it. Coracobrachialis is coming from the coracoid process. This is the coracoid process, as you can see. This is the coracobrachialis. From the coracoid process to the humerus, which is brachial, like the arm is brachial. That's the Latin word for our arm. So it's come from the coracoid process to the arm. That's why it's called coracobrachialis. From coracoid process to the brachial. Simple as that. There are other many examples of muscles that are named this way, but these are just the ones we talk about. So you can just apply this knowledge to other ones. So I believe we can move on. Yeah, I said we should spend 1 hour, and it's almost like an hour already. I would have to rush through. I'm very sorry, but I hope you're enjoying this session. So we're almost done. Based on location and position, some muscles are named in relation to their position or location. You are familiar with the word position and location already. So we'll just deal with examples. Anybody that has done lower limb may appreciate this better, but if you've not, don't worry, stay with me. I can't remember the exact numbers, but except I start to do the counting from my head. But the bones that make up our leg, yes, the total, what we used to call leg in anatomy is not everything that is leg. You have your thigh, then that place from your knee to your ankle, that is what in anatomy is called leg. That is your leg in anatomy. That is the region called leg. It's not the full thing that you call leg. You have the whole thing in anatomy is called lower limbs. Lower limbs, your limbs, the lower one. So it's made up of the regions that make it up are your thigh. You have your knee joints, then your leg, from your knee to your ankle, then you have your foot, like that. So the bones that make up your leg are the tibial bone and medially, and the fibula laterally. So there's a muscle at the anterior portion of your tibia. That muscle that you can touch if you touch, when you feel the medial part of your leg is bony, like you can literally feel your bone, you can feel your leg, you can feel the bone there. But if you touch the lateral part, the one away from the midline, you can feel one fleshy part. That muscle that you can feel is the tibialis anterior, because it is located anterior to the tibial bone. That is why it is called tibialis anterior, the anterior bone of the tibia bone. Do you get? That is the plain explanation for it. That is how it got its name. That was how it got its name. Yeah, the suprahyoid and infrahyoid muscles. I made mention of the hyoid bone earlier. The muscles that are supra means above. Muscles that are above the hyoid bone, they are called the suprahyoid muscles. Below the hyoid bone, they are called the infrahyoid muscles. So I hope it's still recording. I want to be sure that this session is still recording. Sorry. Okay, you can still see my screen, right? Okay, it's still recording. Good. So I believe I've provided a basic. Oh yeah, this one that is very important that I said I was going to, Okay. Can you see my screen now? Sorry. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen? Okay, you can see my screen now. Let's move on. The supraspinal. Okay, yeah. Thank you. I've seen your message. Thank you. Let's continue. Another example I think I should explain about, but before I deal with the explanation. Now you can see these muscles coming back again: the vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, and intermedius. You know, I told you that muscles are usually named as a combination of names. The vastus means great, like vast, large. Then the medial means is based on their position. That was why I added it, like vastus medialis, close to the midline, lateralis, away from the midline, intermedius, between these two muscles, between the medial one and the lateral one. That's the vastus medial intermediate. Now, so this one I said I was going to explain. This is the supraspinatus muscle. When you are learning your upper limbs, one of the bones that they will teach you is the scapula. This is scapula. This is scapula. This bone that I see like this. This bone, sorry, like this. My arrow is going over it. This bone like this is a scapula. This one that you're seeing here is the clavicle. Yes, it's clavicle. So this is the spine of the scapula. This is the spine of the scapula. This is your scapular bone. The scapula like this. Scapula like this. Now, this is the spine of the scapula. Now, you can see this muscle is above the spine. That's why it's called supraspinatus. That, you know, I said anything that is above is supra. That's why it's called supraspinatus, above the spine. Now, I will point my arrow at this other one that is not colored. It is below the spine. What do you think it's going to be called? You can unmute yourself to tell me the answer or type it in the chat box. Yeah, depending on the way you're infraspinatus. Yeah, you're correct. Please, you can clap for yourself if you want to. You're very smart and I appreciate that. It means you guys are following and you're enjoying the session. I'm very humble. Thank you. So let's move on. All right. Yes, I think we are almost done. Yeah, we're almost done. Yes, superficial. Yes. All right. This is based on their depth. I think this is the second to the last one we'll be talking about. This one's a mistake. Don't forget about it. Based on their depth, whether they are deep or external. Yeah. Whether based on their depth, like I see whether they are superficial or deep, like are they up? When I say something is superficial, it means it is close to the skin. You know, your skin is the part of your body that you can readily see. You should have probably heard of something like superficial veins. Those are the, you know, when you, especially for light people or people like me that are very fat, in quotes, you get. When if you squeeze their hand very well, you tie the hand off, maybe when they want to give you injection and they are looking for vein, in your skin, you see that thing, that stuff, that's your vein. It's a superficial vein. It's very close to your skin. That's why you can easily see it. So those they are called superficial muscles. They use superficialis to represent them. An example of them is the flexor digitorum superficialis. This is it. I'm mistaken or not. Okay, this is it. This is the flexor digitorum superficialis. If you're at the posterior part of your arm, that's when you can really see it. It's close to your, what's it called? You can feel it. Yeah, as you're touching your arm like this, you can feel it. Then we have profundus, means deep. That means it is deep. Like it is below, it's far away from your skin, it's below the superficial muscles. I use these two examples, this flexor digitorum superficialis and flexor digitorum profundus, as examples intentionally because of two. One, the flexor digitorum profundis, this one, flexor digitorum profundis, is below this flexor superficialis. If you peel away this muscle, this flexor digitorum superficialis, if you peel it away, then you see flexor digitorum profundus. Do you understand now? This one is superficial, is above it, it's close to your skin. This one is deep. It's like when you are fetching, when you are trying to, if you have a well at home or you've gone to your village before and you see well, except I mean, very, when it's deep, that's profundus. So if someone is telling you this well is deep, and you want to show yourself off as an anatomist, you can say no, it's not deep, it's profundus. Yes. The depth of my knowledge, the profundus of my knowledge, yes, is deep. All right. So I added this example also intentionally because of the fact that the tibialis anterior is also a superficial muscle, but the anatomists that saw it then did not care, didn't use that as a criteria to name it. It just, when the person said, just said this is the anterior muscle of the tibia, and that was it. So it's a superficial muscle, but the person not use it to name it. So it's possible that a muscle meets a particular criteria and is not named according to that criteria, like it's based on discretion. But if you have understanding of how each of these muscles are named, and you see the name of the muscle, you'll be able to understand that, okay, this is how this muscle was named. Then, to make things more interesting, I said I use these two as an example intentionally, because if you can look at these two muscles these names very well, it's a bit long, Abby. For people that understand Yoruba, for people that don't understand Yoruba, it means that it can make you like say nonsense if you don't take your time to pronounce them. Someone sent a message. Yes, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I use this as an example because it's a combination of three names, as you can see, and it will help to drive home my points very well, the purpose of this session. The last thing we'll talk about is how muscles are named based on their actions. That's the last thing we'll talk about after this. But you remember I told you that muscles are usually named as a combination of different criteria. It's not usually just one thing that they use. Sometimes it can be just one criteria, sometimes it can be a combination of different things, and then the muscle has its name. This flexor digitorum superficialis and flexor digitorum profundis are examples of combination of names, and I would break it down. But I believe with the way we've been coming together, you should be able to understand some little things. Now, this flexor, it means that it's talking about the action that the muscle performs. It's based on action. The flexor, that means it flexes. What does it flex? The digits. These are the digits. See, these digits. Our fingers, they are our digits. So, flexor digitorum superficialis. Superficial is telling you where is it located. Is it superficial or deep? So when you hear flexor digitorum superficialis, the thing that should come to your head is the superficial muscle that flexes the fingers. Without reading your book or anything, you literally, they ask that, what's the action of flexor digitorum superficialis? You can literally, just from translating it to plain English, you know the answer already. I wish I knew all these things while I was in my 200 level. Honestly, I didn't know them. I won't lie to you. That's the reason why I'm organizing this. That was really why I organized this session. So as to help you gain the knowledge I didn't have, because that's the whole purpose of this. I wish I had this when I was in 200 level, because if I had this, it would have saved me a lot of troubles, a lot of unnecessary cramming that we had to do. So without cramming or anything, just from translating it from Latin to plain English, you can write out the function of the muscle. So I believe that has done justice to that. No, it's not known as the break. Well, the bones that make up the forearm we have the ulnar and the radius. I know you're familiar with them. So, for example, one of the muscles that you see that forms the is it posterior forearm now? One of the muscles of the forearm, is the brachioradialis. Brachial is just for the arm. When you go to the forearm, you'll be anything like radialis, ulnar, because so in simple definition, no, the forearm does not have anything to do. Is not also known as simple definition. Is your arm that is brachial in simple definition. But some muscles extend from your arm to your forearm and they function at your forearm. They carry out their function at your forearm. An example of such muscle is the brachioradialis. It's extending from the arm to the radial bone, from the humerus to the radial bone. That's called brachioradialis. It's an example of a muscle that is named based on origin and insertion rather. I hope my explanation Becky. So in straight words, okay, all right, thank you, understood. Yeah, in straight words, no, your forearm is not also known as a brachial, it's your arm that is also known as a brachial. The Latin word is originated from brachial. I'm begging you, please. My dear friend, you are not making noise. I'm sorry. I can't go back, I'm sorry. Let's move forward. You can just chat to me privately and then I would help you. Yeah, to the last part where it gets interesting and would be done with today. You can see I said this is a mini minister. Okay, I tried my best. Actions. Muscles are named based on their actions. The action they carry out. The most common way by which muscles are named is through their action. Like is usually very prevalent among all the skeletal muscles you come across, usually based on their action. So examples are the flexor digitorum superficialis that I explained earlier, flexor digitorum profundis also. So, but to make this thing more easy to understand and more interesting and more relatable, the muscles, the major actions that muscles does to different regions of the body, to different regions, like the way they work, function, their actions. The flexes, they are grouped into the flexors, extensors, pronator, supinator, abductor, adductor. And I'll break all this down if you stay with me. So let me break them down. I said the flexors. What is flexion? Anybody have done upper or lower limbs? Upper limbs especially can relate to this. But I'm doing this because of people who have not done upper limbs, that will just go and get into the anatomy when they get to school. So important information, this boot camp is organized by GoBuyBooks. Yeah, GoBuyBooks, they are the brain behind this boot camp, everything, a lot of work going into setting this up. And shout out to Esther, she's not on the call currently, but they are the people behind the boot camp, and they sell medical textbooks and materials. If you need, just reach out to GoBuyBooks and they would help. They will get across. They deliver to universities everywhere. I'll talk more of them at the end if you want to know more about them. So back to our lesson, our session. The flexion. Flexion is reduce the angle between joints. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. I hope you can see my hand. What muscles do majorly? Muscles, they carry out their function, their action at joints. We are familiar with joints where two bones meet. The shoulder joints, the elbow joints, and the metacarpal joints. This is metacarpal joint. This is metacarpal. No, this is not the this is your wrist here. I can't remember the name directly. What they do when it flexes, they reduce the angle. Like you can see my hand like this now. This is flexion. You see, there's an angle. This is the elbow joint. There's an angle here. When flexion happens, they reduce the angle. You see, there's an angle here, and as I'm flexing my forearm, the angle is reducing. Extensors, they increase the angle. Flexors reduce the angle. You see, the angle has reduced. Extensors, the muscles at the posterior compartment of my arm, or my forearm rather, as I'm increasing the, as I'm trying to extend my arm, you can see the angle is increasing. This is the angle if you look at. Flexing, the angle is reducing. Extending, the angle is increasing. I hope you get that. So, explanation. Examples of muscles like that are the flexor digitorum superficialis, flexor digitorum profundus. What they do is that they reduce the angle. Flexors, literally, they reduce angle between joints. So, and then examples of extensors of the, like, there are a lot of extensors muscles, yeah. Your triceps brachii. Muscles are the posterior compartment of your arm. The triceps brachii is the only muscle at the posterior compartment of your arm. Is an extensor. It helps to increases the angle between your shoulder joints. When you are doing like this, you can see the angle is increasing. But muscles at the anterior compartment of your arm, the biceps brachii, coracobrachialis, and the brachialis muscle, yeah, they reduce the angle as I'm trying to. This is flexion. I'm reducing the angle as I'm flexing like this. I'm flexing my arm. I'm reducing the angle. But when I'm coming back like this, the angle is increasing. I'm extending my arm. I hope you get that. Yeah. Another one is the pronator. Examples of muscles that named based on their actions are the pronator teres and pronator quadratus. And I'll explain pronation now. Pronation in literal English, like simple English, without confusing yourself, is just inward movement of your forearm like this. You can see it's coming. Anatomical position. If you've done upper limbs, at least you understand anatomical position. It's like this. The body is like this. So when you come like this, that's pronation. A rotational movement of the forearm that results in a palm facing posteriorly. This is anatomical position. Your palm is anterior. You understand anterior. So when you do that inward movement, your palm faces posteriorly and you are pronating. My hand is pronated like this. Anatomically, my hand is pronated like this. So supination is the opposite, the motion of turning the palm anteriorly. I want to return my palm back to its anatomical position. Outward movement of my forearm. That's supination. I hope I was able to explain that. If you don't understand, let me know. I would also always try to return. So examples of the muscles that are responsible for your pronation of your forearm: pronator teres and your pronator quadratus. Those are the muscles. You can see their name based on their action. Pronator, you get. So then the muscles that help you return your forearm back to its anatomical position from pronation, the outward movements, is the supinator muscle. And the last one, muscles, they also abduct away from the midline. That's like you are taking away, you are abducting, like you are taking away. When you abduct a child, when they abduct the child, they carry the child away, to kidnap. So abduct in anatomy, it means away from the midline. So example is based on the action, abductor pollicis brevis. So with my little explanation so far, you can break this thing down that, okay, this is the small muscle. Your pollicis is your thumb. Brevis means based on size. It means small, brief, yes. Then function, abductor. So it means abductor pollicis brevis. What does it do? It helps you to abduct your thumb. Sorry, my light will also come back in like 1 or 2 minutes. You can't see me again, but you can hear my voice, I believe and hope. So let me just turn off my video since you can't see me. But my light should come on in the next. It's back, I know. I know my lights will come back. Yeah, I'm not confident, sorry. Yeah, so adductor. Adduct means towards the midline. Towards the midline. So you have other examples there that you can see and write down, and it means towards the midline. With this, I've come to the end of the session. If you want to get your textbook, you can get it from GoBuyBooks. And if you have any questions, this is the time to ask. Yeah, we've come to the end. I hope you can unmute yourself now. If you have anything to say. If you have any questions, please, now you can ask. If there's something that is not clear. Now, outside the O, we've come to the end of understanding how muscles are named. If you have any questions regarding it, feel free to ask. Outside it, if you have any other questions, maybe how something that you don't understand, maybe in your class or something like that, or something related to GoBuyBooks, any question within the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm available and I'll be willing and ready to answer them. The floor is yours now. If I don't get any question in the next 5 minutes, I believe I can. Okay. Tommy saying I couldn't hear what you said about brachialis. Sorry, noise in the background. Yeah. Session was well detailed. Thank you. I don't understand that midpoint. Please do an example. Okay, midpoint. You guys can see me, I believe. Okay, you can see me. Let me explain midpoint. Yeah, the session is over. Sorry. I want to explain midpoint. Now I'm trying to explain midpoint. Anatomically, I should and I would send some, but I know GoBuyBooks will send resources, especially if you're a customer of GoBuyBooks. If you just reach out to GoBuyBooks, if you're a customer of GoBuyBooks, you have access to a lot of resources from GoBuyBooks that will aid your academic experience. That's the reason why GoBuyBooks exists. But let me explain, and I hope you get it. Anatomically, as human being, in anatomy, when you see the human body, we assume there's an imaginary line. It's imaginary. When you say something is imaginary, imagine it's not there, but we believe, we are setting our mindset to believe that okay, it is there. It's imaginary. Imagine that there's an imaginary. You can't see my face. Sorry. Okay, you can see my face now. There's an imaginary line dividing the body into two equal halves. Two equal halves. It's imagination, but it's very useful to do that. It helps us it gives us direction and guides us on the things we do. I believe and I hope you understand what I mean. If you get clinically oriented anatomy, it will make it more enjoyable and you understand. And it's at a promo price from GoBuyBooks. You can reach out to GoBuyBooks. They would deliver to you anywhere in your school or at your house. But I believe and I hope I was able to explain. If you have any question, you have my number on the chat box. And then something that is very, very important again is the fact that if you want to have access to these recordings or the slide, I don't know, I'm not sure if I will be giving out the slide. I'm not sure yet. I'm not yet convinced. I don't know. I've not decided that if I want to give it out or not. I don't know. I've not decided yet. But who knows? But the recording will be given out, obviously. We'll send it, but I don't know if I want to give this slide out here. So you need to fill this form. Once you fill the form, all right. Please give out. If I'm confused, I don't know. If I'm confused, I'll give it out. 2372. But I feel I've done good justice with this session. So I have some other things that I have to attend to and I need to attend to. And that's why I'm waiting for more questions. In the next 3 to 5 minutes, and I don't get any question, I believe we've had a wonderful, nice time. Except you want to gist with me. But yeah, questions. Which parts don't you
Please,
get?
can you explain circumduction?
Oh, circumduction. Okay. Circumduction basically is it's which part of your body can you have the circumduction movement? I want to talk.
Your arm, your brachia.
What did you say?
Your brachia.
Don't confuse yourself with brachia, please. This is your arm. Don't.
Okay, your radial brachialis.
Don't confuse yourself with brachia or brachioradialis. Circumduction immediately is just like this, the movement of your hand like this. All right, but yeah, it's medially at your wrist. You can, like circumference. The word is from circumference. Do you get
Yeah, I guess.
circumference? Yeah, circumduction. That kind of thing. Circumference. That's it, basically.
Thank you.
You're welcome, player. So, any more questions? I think I should stop recording now.